Hello, hello! Welcome back to the English Podcast Classroom. I'm so happy you're here today, and this is the place where we make learning English fun and practical. Today, we have an amazing topic that I know you're going to love. We're talking about English for making friends online. Yes, that's right. We're going to learn how to use English to connect with people from all over the world through the internet. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to chat with someone online but felt nervous about your English? Maybe you typed a message and then deleted it because you weren't sure if it sounded right? Don't worry, you are not alone. This happens to everyone who is learning a new language. But here's the exciting thing. Making friends online is one of the best ways to practice your English. Think about it. You can meet people who share your hobbies, your interests, your dreams. You can learn about different cultures. And the best part? You can do it from your home, in your comfortable clothes, with a cup of tea or coffee in your hand. In today's episode, we're going to cover everything you need to know. We'll start with how to begin conversations online. Then we'll talk about keeping those conversations interesting and fun. I'll share some common expressions that native speakers use when they chat online. We'll also discuss some important cultural tips to help you avoid misunderstandings. And of course, we'll practice together with some real examples. By the end of this episode, you'll feel much more confident about reaching out to people online in English. You'll have the tools you need to start real friendships that could last for years. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, let's start with the basics. How do you begin a conversation with someone new online? This is often the hardest part, right? You see someone interesting. Maybe they posted a photo of a beautiful sunset, or they shared a book you love, or they're talking about a hobby you enjoy. You want to say something, but what? First, let's talk about greetings. Online greetings are usually more casual than formal letters. You don't need to write, "Dear Sir" or "Madame." Keep it simple and friendly. Here are some great ways to start. Hi there. This is friendly and casual, perfect for most situations. Hello. Simple and works everywhere. Hey. This is more casual. Use it with people around your age or in informal groups. Now, after your greeting, you need to say why you're writing. This is super important. Nobody likes mystery messages that just say, "Hi," and nothing else. Give people a reason to respond to you. Here are some examples. Hi there. I saw your post about traveling to Japan. I'm planning to visit Tokyo next year. Do you have any recommendations? Hello. I noticed we both love reading mystery novels. Have you read anything good lately? Hey, I saw you're into photography too. How long have you been playing? See how each message has 3 parts: a greeting, a connection point, and a question. This formula works great. Let me give you a few more examples of good first messages. Hi, I love your photo of that hiking trail. Where is that beautiful place? Hello, I saw your comment about learning Spanish. I'm studying it too. What's the hardest part for you? Hey there, I noticed you're into photography. That sunset picture you posted is amazing. What kind of camera do you use? Now, what if you're joining an online group or community? Maybe it's a Facebook group about cooking or a Discord server about video games. How do you introduce yourself? Here's a simple template. Hi everyone, I'm your name, and I'm new here. I'm really interested in topic of the group. Looking forward to chatting with you all. For example, hi everyone, I'm Maria, and I'm new here. I'm really interested in learning about plant care. Looking forward to chatting with you all. Remember, people love to help newcomers. Don't be afraid to say you're new. Most online communities are very welcoming. One more tip for starting conversations. Always be genuine. If you really like something someone shared, say so. If you have a real question, ask it. People can tell when you're being honest and they appreciate.
Awesome. So you've started a conversation and someone has replied to you. Now what? How do you keep the conversation interesting and flowing naturally? This is where many English learners feel stuck, but I'm going to give you some fantastic strategies. First, let's talk about asking questions. Questions are like fuel for conversations. They keep things moving. But not all questions are equal. Try to ask open-ended questions instead of yes or no questions. Instead of asking, "Did you like the movie?" Try, "What did you think about the movie?" This gives the person more space to share their thoughts. Instead of, "Is your job fun?" Try, "What's the best part about your job?" Much better, right? Here are some question starters that work great online. What's your favorite? What's your favorite thing about living in your city? How did you get into photography? What's it like to work from home? Have you ever tried rock climbing? Now, here's a secret that many English learners don't know. Native speakers love to talk about their experiences and opinions, so ask about those. People enjoy sharing stories about their travels, their hobbies, their pets, their favorite foods. These topics almost never fail. But asking questions is only half of keeping a conversation going. You also need to show that you're listening and interested. How do you do this online? Here are some great ways. That sounds amazing. Use this when someone shares something positive. Oh, wow, I had no idea. Perfect when you learn something new. I can totally relate to that. Great when someone shares an experience similar to yours. That must have been exciting, or that must have been challenging. Let me show you how this works in a real conversation. Person A says, "I just got back from a trip to Iceland. The Northern Lights were incredible." You could respond, "Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights. What was the best moment of your trip?" See what happened there? You showed enthusiasm, you related to their experience, and you asked a follow-up question. That's how you keep conversations alive. Another great technique is sharing something about yourself that connects to what they said. This is called bridging. Here's how it works. If someone says, "I love cooking Italian food," you could say, "That's so cool. I'm actually trying to learn how to make pasta from scratch. Any tips for a beginner?" Or if someone mentions they have a dog, you could say, "Oh, I love dogs. I have a golden retriever named Max. What kind of dog do you have?" Remember, conversations online should feel like a tennis match. The ball goes back and forth. You share, you ask, they answer, they ask, you answer. Keep it balanced. And here's something important. Don't worry about being perfect. If you make a grammar mistake, it's okay. Most people won't even notice, and if they do, they usually don't mind. What matters most is that you're friendly and genuine. Now let's talk about the language that people actually use when they chat online. This might be different from what you learned in your English textbook. Online English has its own style, and I want to help you understand it. First, let's talk about abbreviations and short forms. Native speakers use these all the time in casual online chats. LOL means laugh out loud. Use this when something is funny. BTW means by the way. Use this to add extra information. IMO or IMHO means in my opinion or in my humble opinion. TTL means talk to you later, a friendly way to end a conversation. IRL means in real life, talking about something that happens offline. But here's important advice. You don't need to use these abbreviations to fit in. Many native speakers don't use them either. It's more important to be clear and friendly than to use trendy shortcuts. Let's talk about emojis. Emojis are a universal language online. They help show your emotions and make your messages more friendly. Here's some safe emojis that work well. Smiley face shows you're happy, you're friendly. A laughing face shows you're laughing or a bit embarrassed. A thumbs up shows agreement or approval. A thinking face shows you're thinking. A sleeping face shows you're tired. And a party face shows excitement or celebration. But be careful not to use too many emojis in one message. One or two is usually perfect. Now let's talk about the difference between formal and casual language online. This is really important because you want to match the style of the group or person that you're talking to. In casual groups like gaming communities or hobby forums, people often write like they talk. Hey, what's up? That's awesome! No way, really? I totally agree. In more professional or serious groups, use slightly more formal language. Hello, how are you? That's very interesting. Really? I didn't know that. I completely agree. Here's a helpful tip. Read a few messages from other people in the group before you post. This will give you a feel for the style they use. Let's talk about some phrases that make you sound natural and friendly online. Instead of, I think that, try, I feel like. It sounds more conversational. Instead of, you are wrong, try, I see it differently, or, that's an interesting point, but instead of, I do not understand, try, could you explain that a bit more? Or, I'm not sure I follow. These small changes make you sound like a native speaker. And here's something really useful. Transition phrases for online chat. Speaking of which, to change topics smoothly. That reminds me to share a related story. On a different note, to change the subject. Actually, to add more information or correct something gently. Practice using these in your online conversations. They make everything flow more naturally.
Now, we need to talk about something very important: cultural differences and online safety. When you are making friends online, you are not just practicing English. You are also learning to navigate different cultures and social rules. This is exciting, but it also requires some care and wisdom. Let us start with being respectful. Different cultures have different ideas about personal space, even online personal space. Some people love to share details about their lives, their families, their work. Others prefer to keep things more private. How do you know what is okay? Here is a good rule. Follow their lead. If someone shares something personal, you can share something similar about yourself. If they keep things light and general, you do the same. Pay attention to their comfort level. Also, be careful with personal questions. Questions like, how old are you? Or what is your job? Might feel too personal to some people, especially when you first meet. Start with safer topics like hobbies, favorite movies, or travel experiences. Part 2. Online humor. Let us talk about humor online. This can be tricky. Humor does not always translate well across cultures and languages. What is funny in your country might not be funny in another country. And sarcasm, saying the opposite of what you mean to be funny, is very difficult to understand online. My advice? Keep your humor light and positive, especially when you're getting to know someone new. Here are some safe types of humor for online friendships. Gentle, self-deprecating humor. I tried to cook dinner and somehow burned water. I have special talents. Observational humor about everyday life. Why is it that when I have time to video call, my hair looks terrible, but when I am busy, it looks perfect? Funny stories about learning English. Yesterday, I told someone I was pregnant instead of embarrassed. Learning English is an adventure. Part 3. Handling disagreements. Now, let us talk about disagreements. Yes, even with your online friends, sometimes you will not agree about things. Maybe they love a movie that you hate, or they support a different sports team. How do you handle this politely? Here are some diplomatic phrases. I see your point, but I think differently. That is interesting. I've always thought something else. I understand why you feel that way. For me, though, I think differently. We might have to agree to disagree on this one. Remember, disagreeing politely can actually make friendships stronger. It shows that you can have different opinions and still respect each other. Part 4. Online safety. Let us talk about something very important. Online safety. Making friends online can be wonderful, but you need to be smart about it. Here are some essential safety tips. Never share your full address, phone number, or financial information with someone you only know online. Be careful about sharing photos that show where you live or work. If someone asks to meet you in person, take your time. Get to know them well first. And if you do decide to meet, choose a public place and tell someone you trust where you are going. Trust your feelings. If something feels wrong or uncomfortable, it is okay to step back from the friendship. Do not send money or gifts to people you have only met online, even if they seem very nice. These rules might seem obvious, but when you're excited about a new friendship, it's easy to forget them. Stay safe and trust yourself.
Part 5. Time zones. Here is another cultural tip. Time zones. When you are making friends online, they might live in a completely different time zone. Always be understanding if someone does not reply immediately. They might be sleeping when you are awake. You can say things like, "No rush to reply," or "Answer whenever you have time." This shows that you are considerate and understanding. Part 6. Practice time. All right, my dear listeners, now it is time for my favorite part, practice time. I am going to give you some example sentences in situations. I want you to repeat after me. Do not be shy, even if you are listening with headphones and people around you might think you are a little crazy. Practice out loud. That is how you improve. Let us start with some greeting practice. I will say a line, then pause for you to repeat it. Ready? Hi there. I saw your post about hiking. That trail looks beautiful. Where is it located? Great. Now let us practice showing interest. Repeat after me. That sounds really interesting. Tell me more about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Perfect. Now let us practice some friendly reactions. These are so useful for online chat. Oh, wow! I had no idea. That is so cool. I can totally relate to that. Excellent work. Now, let us practice asking follow-up questions. This is how you keep conversations alive. How did you get started with that hobby? What is your favorite thing about it? Have you been doing that for a long time? You are doing fantastic. Now, let us practice some polite ways to disagree. I see your point, but I think differently. That is interesting. I have always thought something else. We might have different experiences with this. Beautiful. Now, let us practice ending conversations nicely. It was so nice chatting with you. I hope we can talk again soon. Have a wonderful day. And finally, let us practice some encouraging responses when someone shares something personal. Thank you for sharing that with me. That must have been really challenging. You should be proud of yourself. Wonderful job, everyone. Remember, the more you practice these phrases, the more natural they will become. Soon, you will be using them without even thinking about it. You know what? I want to take a moment to talk about something really special.
Making friends online while learning English is not just about improving your language skills. It's about something much bigger than that. When you connect with someone online in English, you're breaking down walls. You're building bridges between cultures. You're proving to yourself that language is not a barrier. It's a bridge. Every time you send a message, every time you share a laugh with someone from another country, you're doing something amazing. I remember when I was learning my second language. I was so nervous about making mistakes that I hardly spoke to anyone. But then I met someone online who became a real friend. They were patient with my mistakes. They helped me learn. And most importantly, they showed me that communication is about connection, not perfection. Your English doesn't have to be perfect to make real friends. In fact, some of the most meaningful conversations happen when people are learning together, helping each other, being patient with each other. Think about it this way. When you make a friend online using English, you're both winning. You get to practice your English in a real, meaningful way. And your new friend gets to meet someone interesting from your culture. Maybe they'll learn some words in your language too. Online friendships also give you something that textbooks can't. Real English has it's actually used. You'll learn slang. You'll understand cultural references. You'll pick up the rhythm of natural conversation. This is the kind of learning that sticks with you forever. And here's something beautiful. Online friends often become real-life friends. I know people who met online and then visited each other's countries. I know people who started as online language exchange partners and ended up as bridesmaids at each other's weddings. The internet makes the world smaller and brings hearts closer together. But even if your online friendships stay online, they're still real and valuable. Some of my closest friends live thousands of miles away, and we've never met in person. But we share our joys, our challenges, our daily lives. Distance doesn't make friendship less real. So here's my challenge for you. This week, reach out to one new person online. Join one new English-speaking group. Comment on one post that interests you. Take that small step. You never know, it might be the beginning of a friendship that changes your life. Remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every confident English speaker was once where you are now, feeling nervous about that first message. But they took the leap, and so can you. Wow, what a journey we've taken together today here on the English Podcast Classroom. We've covered so much ground, and I'm really proud of you for sticking with me through this entire episode. Let's quickly review what we've learned today. We talked about how to start conversations online with friendly greetings and clear reasons for reaching out. We learned techniques for keeping conversations flowing with great questions and enthusiastic responses. We explored common online expressions and the difference between formal and casual language. We discussed important cultural tips and safety guidelines. And we practiced together with real examples that you can use starting today. But here's the most important thing I want you to remember from today's episode. You already have everything you need to start making friends online in English. Your English is good enough. Your personality is interesting enough. Your curiosity about other people and other cultures is enough. The only thing standing between you and new friendships is that first message. So send it. Take the risk. Make the connection. Some people might not respond, and that's okay. It's not personal. But some people will respond, and those responses might grow into something really wonderful. Before we finish, I want to invite you to be part of the English Podcast Classroom community. If this episode helped you, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you never miss a new episode. We publish new episodes every week, always with practical English lessons that you can use in your real life. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me about your online friendship experiences. Have you made friends online using English? What worked well for you? What was challenging? Your experiences could help other learners who are listening. And here's a fun idea. Maybe some of you listening right now will become friends with each other. Check the comments section below this video. You might find someone who shares your interests and wants to practice English too. I also want to remind you that learning English is a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Every conversation you have, every new word you learn, every mistake you make and learn from, it's all progress. You're doing amazing, even when it doesn't feel like it. One final piece of advice: practice a little bit every day. Even if it's just 5 minutes of chatting online or commenting on one post or reading one article, daily practice adds up to big improvements over time. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Thank you for trusting me to be part of your English learning journey. It's truly an honor. Until next time, keep practicing, keep connecting, and remember, every conversation is an opportunity to grow. This is the English Podcast Classroom, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, my friends.